You're welcome. You're welcome. So without much ado, let me welcome here the presidential candidate of the Young Progressives Party, Ado Ibrahim Abdul Malik.
Good day, ladies, mothers, sisters, daughters. It's an absolute pleasure to be here today. Thank you very much for the invitation from VOW. I come from a unique perspective about what women are to us. You are 50% of our population, and you gave birth to the other 50% of this population. So our job is to nurture you, protect you, and get you on a stage where we can honor you at all times. I don't believe that as a politician, we are here to deliver action on what women should do. It should be something we're ingrained to do, to protect our mothers, our sisters, our daughters. I'm not a politician, so I will come directly to what I do best. In every organization that I have started, I have worked in, and including my home, reverence is given to the way the mother raises us, nurtures us, and cares for us. Over 80% of my employees are women. That is a task I have taken very kindly to because I get results. As the presidential candidate of YPP, I think even our women leader will tell you, there is no way you can go in my movement, in my home, in my activities on a daily level where women are not in the fore of everything. So I'm not going to give you some deliberate speech or agreement you must sign. There's a rule I like, and it's a rule you should hold every one of us to. If somebody promises you they're going to do something, make sure they've done it. There's no point anybody giving you this political speech that I will do this, I will sign an agreement and 35% will be women. Have they done it? And if they haven't, then do not believe. Because actions speak louder than words. You can sign all the documents you want, but do you believe in what you're signing? When it comes to how women run things, it's very clear that there is that maternal spirit, that nurturing spirit. Nigeria needs that today. The amount of strife, lack of empathy that we see on a daily basis has to stop. Mothers, talk to your children. Daughters, raise good men. There is no excuse for what we see where women feel that they are neglected, unappreciated. You are what we are. Without you, well, we wouldn't be here. So men, as we sit and try to preach to you that we are going to do certain things, we also realize the value. I think every one of us on this stage realizes the value that you all bring to us, and we honor you for that. I think what is unconscionable is that we're still talking about violence against women as if we are cavemen. It cannot continue to happen. But it's not a unique Nigerian thing. It happens all over the world. Nigeria needs to lead the way in how we present ourselves as men, how we present ourselves as a nation, and how we lead. If we do not take these things seriously, we are going to continue to fall as a nation. Together we rise, and if we don't take care, we will fall together. So I want to promise you that it's not about what you save or what you predict will happen in the future. Is what have you done in your past? How have you reflected that togetherness, that understanding, that comfort in womanhood? And how do you bring it to the fore? How do you give reassurances to you? So please, check, regard what we do, what we've done, and that should be the guideline for you to realize which one of us best suits the kind of Nigeria you want. Which one of them that is on this stage gives you the best value for who you are as a member of this great country. Nigeria needs guidance, and we get it best from our mothers. If we do not present ourselves in that vein, then you are also responsible. You must put our feet to fire and make sure that we deliver as your sons, we deliver as your husbands, and we deliver as your brothers. Politics is not something I've come into lightly. I've come into it because I believe there is a better Nigeria ahead of us. I believe there's a Nigeria that sees what is best in every single one of us. I believe that that Nigeria requires 50% of your cabinet to be women. I believe that Nigeria also requires that not just a woman as a place setter. We need the best women, because if we pick the wrong woman, it's going to be the wrong kind of message. It will set you back. Look around the world where there's WTO, the United Nations, many other agencies. Nigerian women are at the top, and we need to bring that back home. We need to show you at the top of what we do as a country. I don't have much else to say. I'm very grateful for the love that you are all showing us as men, as fathers to your children. But please, we do nothing without you making sure that we do it. If you have to not give us food at home, then do that. If you have to wrap us around the head, then do that. But make sure, come 2023, you are present. You must be present. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much to the organizers for this incredible occasion.
Okay, can we have a better round of applause for the presidential candidate of the Young Progressives Party, Ado Ibrahim Abdul Malik. Our presidential candidates, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are now live on Africa Independent Television, AIT. So we'll simply go straight on to our next speaker. I'd like to call on the presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party, Adebayo Adewale Ebenezer, to give us his plans.
Eminent leaders of our society, the Honorable Minister for Women Affairs, the organizers, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor to be here to speak to the most important segment of our society. My approach to looking at the issue of women is to look at myself as a product of a woman. And my life has turned to what it is today, and if there's anything that I need to offer, it is because I was fortunate to be raised by women. I lost my father when I was 2 years, 3 months. But the quality that my mother was, and that my grandmother was, and I was so lucky to have my great-grandmother to look after me, I did not know what it meant to be an orphan, or what the life of a person who lost his father could have been. And also, I'm the prince of the Ondo kingdom, and we in Ondo, we are used to women, because we are called princes, because our kingdom was founded by a woman. I think we are about the only, one of the few kingdoms in the world that the founder was a woman, and we inherited our royalty from the mother side. So I'm used to being under women, listening to women, taking command from women. In fact, this morning I took command from my wife before I got here. So from a cultural perspective, which we cannot overlook, the culture plays a major role as regards the value, the humanity that we ascribe to women. So with me, you don't have any cultural hangover of superiority to women or looking down on women. That is not my problem. But there are other structural issues. If we approach women as citizens, and we do that very well, most of our problems will be solved. If we approach women as humans, and we do that very well, most of our problems will be solved. But there are so many other ways we can look at women. But what is most important is the legal right. The rights, privileges, and prospects of women in the society should not depend on which government is in power. Should not depend on which politician signs an undertaking. Because under our Constitution, there are guaranteed rights for women. Secondly, the objective condition that you create in a country will determine whether women are going to live to their full potential. I was a United Nations and ECOWAS appointed commissioner in Liberia after the war. And I noticed one thing very clearly. All the people who caused the war, none was a woman. The generals who commanded the war, none was a woman. But most victims of the war were women. And when we came to rebuild that country, most of those who came to contribute to the development and rebuilding of that country were women. So our politics has been fashioned in such a way that men are allowed to go and cause problems, women fall victim of the problem, and women still come back to rebuild what men have destroyed. And once the thing has been rebuilt, the men take over again, we start the cycle. That should stop. So generally speaking, in our country today, we are running unfair to poverty and insecurity. Who are the worst victims of poverty? It's the women. Because when the men get a job and they are well paid, they have many ways by which they spend their money. But as soon as the man loses his job, the best friend becomes the wife. Because that's the person who now has to look after the family. We have children. When they are suffering from poverty, the men can have many excuses. I've lost my job, what can I do? Women are the only people who have no excuse to give, whether the woman has a job or not. Somehow, she must provide for the family. So a poor society, do the graphics anywhere you want to do it. A poor society means a society where the women are poor. Take the top 10 countries in the world. Take the G7. You can look at it from GDP, GNP, and per capita income. But the most fundamental indices that you will use will be indices that show that their women are not poor. So any country in which the women are not poor, there can be no poverty. Any country in which the women participate in the economy, there can be no poverty. Any women in which the women participate in politics, there can be no poverty. So that is very important for us to observe. But in this country, in the context of Nigeria, everybody you bring out in Nigeria can make this kind of speech I'm making. So why do we make these speeches? And we spoke eloquently when the Nigerian delegation to the Beijing conference in 1995. So when it comes to articulating what the women should be, what they should get, what we should do, we are okay. Why don't we do it? It's simple. The access to power in Nigeria has been two ways: military or election. You know the military. Women are very few there. So when you hear, ladies and gentlemen, there's a coup, the voice will be a masculine voice, will never be a woman. So for many years, women were denied access to power. Secondly, since 1999, that we came back to civil rule, two things have dominated our politics: violence and obscene use of money. Women don't do well in those two vices. So if we want to address participation of women in politics and participation in decision-making, two things we must remove. We must remove violence from politics and cheating. Women are not good cheats. Rarely can you find a woman who says, cut somebody's head off, burn their house down because I want to come to power. Women are not used to that. So we must remove that as an influence in our politics. Secondly, women don't know how to steal obscenely and create a financial empire to control everything. Women want to make their contribution. But if you look at everybody, let us be natural in the way we live our life. When we seek advice, when we seek trust, we go to the women. But when we seek power, we don't give power to the women. So I believe that if we amend our ways, enforce the electoral law very well, enforce the law, and have rule of law, women will naturally dominate. I'm an employer of labor, and just like my brother Malik has said, unconsciously, without making any effort, I find out that 90% of my wealth is managed by women. That's why I have no hypertension, and I can afford to leave my work and run for election.